Welcome to the course Mental Health and Well-Being. Today again we are discussing Module 5, Advanced Emotional Skills and Boundaries. And this particular lecture we try to understand fostering emotional resilience. Myself, Dr. Anish T, clinical psychologist. So we will try to understand the concept of emotional resilience, what exactly emotional resilience means, and exploring its significance in providing actionable strategies to cultivate it. In what are the ways in which in day-to-day life we can cultivate this emotional resilience in our day-to-day activities, in day-to-day life exercises. Emotional resilience enables us to bounce back from adversity and maintain our well-being. So we'll try to understand what is the definition of emotional resilience. And it's only an adaptability. Adaptability, emotional resilience in the sense you are adapting to the situations where you feel discomfort, you feel kind of a stress. So during that situations, you'll be trying to accept it and adapt to an adverse situations. It is about being flexible and adjusting your mindset to cope with the challenges effectively. This adaptability allows you to navigate uncertainties with a greater case. And again, it's a kind of bouncing back. Resilience involves the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. It is not about avoiding setbacks, but rather about learning from them and moving forward. And this bouncing back is an ability. It is crucial for maintaining a positive outlook. And it is also necessary for stress management. Emotionally resilient individuals can manage stress effectively, reducing the negative impacts on their mental and physical health. They use coping mechanisms to stay calm under pressure, ensuring their emotional balance. So this is very important while we are trying to understand what exactly is the emotional resilience. So we'll try to understand in more deeply what are the importance of emotional resilience. Basically, this emotional resilience help you to reduce the stress, and also it will have an impact. It improves overall mental health by fostering a positive mindset and reducing the risk of any kind of disorders, especially depression and anxiety. Resilient individuals are better equipped to handle emotional setbacks. And those who are having a more of an emotional resilience, they have a good coping or a problem solving skills. Enhances problem solving and decision making skills, allowing you to approach challenges with the clarity and confidence. This leads to more effective outcomes. So there are some traits which we consider as a resilient people hold. One thing can be self-awareness. A person, one who is having a more of resiliency, will have a proper understanding about himself or herself. Resilient individuals possess a deep understanding of their emotions, their behaviors, and about their thought patterns, how they impact their behavior. They recognize their strengths and weaknesses, enabling them to manage their responses effectively. And second thing can be, another trait is an emotional regulation. They will be able to manage or name the emotions accordingly. They will act, or they have an control over their emotions, which will make them feel better in any environment, any social interactions, any social behaviors. And that also prevent them from being overwhelmed by stress or anxiety. This allows them to maintain composure in difficult situations. And third trait can be considered as those people who are having emotionally resilient have a sense of purpose. What are the goal to be live in this world, and why I want to do this kind of activities, or what is the strong sense of purpose or meaning that guides their actions and provides a foundation for perseverance. That is also very important to remember. Whenever you are having a purpose in life, you will have a perseverance, consistency in doing things, acting accordingly in day-to-day life. And emotional resilience also leads to you in reframing your experiences. What are the negative experiences. Sometimes we may have a past life experiences which was not according to our expectations, and these past life experiences will be having an reframing experiences. Whatever you experience negatively, most of the people who are undergoing stress or anxiety will be thinking about their past as a negative, and based on that negative experiences, they may try to reframe that experiences. Building inner strength involves several key practices. And the second thing can be practicing self-discipline. Based on their emotional resilience, they will practice a self-discipline. For example, for 1 week, I will consistently try to wake up at 7 o'clock. I will be consistently attending my lab and responsibilities, or I will be attending the office in a particular period of time, or I will be completing this task in a particular proper ambience. So seeking purpose is very important in building inner strength. Seeking purpose through values and goals provide a sense of direction and motivation. Values in the sense, some people consider curiosity as a value. Some people will be considering excellence, being excellence in everywhere. Where I'm in academia, I am working in a job environment, I prefer for an excellence. And thirdly, some people used to have a criteria in their values, especially hard work is a value. That can be one of the criteria for a seeking purpose in life. This enabling you to overcome your daily challenges. So now we will try to understand in deep how you can practice self-discipline and perseverance. Most of us are having a decision or a goal or a purpose. I want to do this. I want to complete this thing in this particular week or this month. So the problem is that during the stresses of life or unmet realities of the environment obviously it is not out of our control, but at the same time, people will be feeling some kind of difficulties to maintain that purpose, that perseverance. So how can you do this kind of perseverance? Basically, 3 steps we can understand in deeply. One is start small. Begin with the small, manageable goals to build a momentum. Instead of thinking about, I will complete this particular subject within 3 days. Instead of doing that, I can able to manage this part of this subject up to the afternoon or up to a day. So accordingly, I will be building a small goal, begin with the small, manageable, and build momentum. Secondly, you will be maintaining consistency. Maintaining consistency in your efforts to develop discipline. Consistently, I will practice reading, or I will practice going to the lab. I will practice sitting in my particular place of study. So where I will be trying to do effort to consistently, daily, consistently, I will try to control this particular task. After that only, I will move on to some other thing. For example, if I am sitting in the library for studying or academic purpose, so in between I will have a tendency to look up in between my messages, scroll through my social media. So I will take a decision for the next 1 hour. I won't be able to open my phone. I will keep away from my phone from this particular goal. So like that, we can maintain some kind of consistency in our day-to-day goal setting. And thirdly, celebrate progress. For example, acknowledge and celebrate your achievements to stay motivated. Maybe it may be a small thing or it may be a greater thing. So accept that one and acknowledge that one and celebrate your achievement to stay motivated. Self-discipline and perseverance are essential components of emotional resilience. That is also necessary to remember that. Start by setting small, achievable goals to build momentum and confidence. Maintain consistent in your efforts to develop discipline over time. Here we try to understand how the resilience and brain science are connected. As we know, neuroplasticity is there. The brain's ability to adapt and reorganize itself in response to experiences. Practicing resilience building strategies can strengthen neural pathways linked to emotional regulation. As we know that whenever you do something, amygdala will create or activate, then we get emotions like anxiety, then fear, such kind of emotions. Whenever you are doing a proper kind of practice of daily resilience skills, coping skills, it will give you a proper prefrontal cortex work, like a proper decision making to deal with a particular difficulties. And again, prefrontal cortex and amygdala enhances over the reducing emotional reactivity. Mindfulness and self-compassion help balance emotional responses. While we are doing mindfulness, it can help your prefrontal cortex. So it will give you a proper decision making, and it will give you a calmness, and you will be having a grounding experiences where you will be able to take decisions appropriately according to the situations, according to the severity of the problem, so that you will have a proper confidence to cope with the difficult problems in your day-to-day life. So how we can seek purpose in our daily life through values and goals? As we discussed, identify your values. Determine what is truly important to you. Don't compare yourself with the excellence of others. Maybe people have some kind of inner tendency to comparing myself with others. So maybe some of the religious figures who are ideally or a kind of concept which is already inhibited in your brain, in your thought process, and you are trying to do, I want to be like this particular person, or I want to be one of the best examples of my class, this person. So that kind of values or that kind of expectations to be put in yourself with others will not contribute much. Most of your values, most of your expectations should be really realistic, or it can be achievable. So determine what is truly important to you. For example, for me, very important is hard work. So I will consider hard work as one of my values. So next thing can be curiosity, can be one of my values. Genuinity can be one of my values. Commitment can be one of the other values. So identify and try to see a hierarchy of values. Which value would I like to give first priority? So accordingly, you can build the daily activities and set meaningful goals. Align your goals with your core values. Whether if I am planning this goal, whether it will be obviously helping my goal to achieve this particular period of time. Then third one, finally, the take action. Pursue your goals with intention and dedication. That is very important. Sometimes you may have a proper intention, you have a strong desire, you have a value, but at the same time, the dedication, the commitment which you want to give to achieve this goal is lacking. Most of us are having that kind of tendency in our life. So whenever you feel that I am having that proper goal, I am having an innate motivation to do this, but at the same time, I am feeling lack of dedication. So during that time, you need to pull yourself through the help of others. Maybe you can approach your own mentors or your own colleagues or your peer group, or in between you can approach some of the professionals. Seeking purpose is a powerful way to enhance emotional resilience. Especially start by identifying your core values, what truly matters to you. Take consistent actions towards achieving your goals, reinforcing your sense of purpose and resilience. Again, cultivating emotional resilience, fostering a life with positivity, self-compassion and gratitude. These three things are very important in our life. As we know that positivity in the sense you are trying to see every reality in a hopeful manner. We should have a hope in ourselves. I can do this. I will be able to do that. We have seen a lot of examples in day-to-day life. Even in India, you may be seeing that the army people who are protecting our country from the borders. So a person, one militant, one who is working in a Siachen areas, he may be having how to trouble with the environment, the degree of Celsius temperatures. All these things are affecting him, and he may be experienced from the past life. There are many of former militants, those who dedicated their life for this particular service, and thinking that he is carrying a lot of luggage behind him and he is going with all these kind of difficulties. At the same time, he is having a positivity, a hope that based on all the previous experiences, whatever I came to know or whatever is there in my thought process, I have that confidence that I will be able to survive. I will be able to protect my country because of all this, whatever is the negativity around me. So that is again a kind of a conceptual clarity. We should have this kind of positivity or a kind of a hope in our mind to cultivate emotional resilience. Secondly, self-compassion, compassionate towards ourselves. And finally, the gratitude. We will go deep into each of these kind of emotional resilience skills. And positive emotions, as we discussed now, it's a key to resilience. And positivity definitely help you for a well-being, and it will reduce your stress, and it also will bring you some kind of creativity in your life, and it can give connections. A person one who is having positivity, a person one who maintains positivity will be able to give hope for others. So if I am able to give hope to you, then you will have a connection with me. So that kind of connectedness, you will be able to maintain, strengthen social bonds. And if I am having a positivity in my mind, I will be able to increase cognitive flexibility. I will be able to do creativity. My act will be particular from others. I will have a lot of ideas, and it will definitely help me be calm, be quiet in any difficult situations, especially in my academics and also in my job environment, wherever I am being. I will be able to spread that positivity to my environment. So it's a kind of, people will consider me as a blessing for them. And I also will be accepting others are a blessing for me. So cultivate this emotional resilience, being positive, that is very important. And the second step, as we discussed, practicing self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Kindness is very important. Second thing is letting go. Release self-criticism. Whatever comes to your mind, these thoughts are automatic and it is repetitive. Sometimes it is uncontrollable. Many of the negative thoughts come continuously. So try to understand that. Let this negative criticism, self-criticism, letting go, release them. And realistic, avoid unrealistic expectations. Sometimes I may have that kind of expectation that others, my colleagues, my classmates, my people around me, in my family, everyone needs to respect me, everyone needs to support me. When you think in reality, you will not be able to respect everyone. You will not be able to support everyone every time. So try to have a proper expectations. If I am thinking that everyone should respect me, it's a kind of unmet expectation which cannot be realistic. If I am telling that I am having a negativity, I am having a stress, I am having an anxiety, and I am feeling that everyone should support me, and it is not possible. So try to have a realistic, and it's again a kind of self-compassion. I am accepting myself, my emotions, my weaknesses, my positivity, everything as it is. So try to understand kindness, letting go, and realistic. So some of these real life examples of resilience. For academic pressure, a student failing an exam but bouncing back by seeking help and creating a study plan. Family challenges, coping with the parental divorce by finding support through friends or a mentor. And loss and grief, managing the death of a loved one while maintaining hope and connection. These are the real life examples which you can again identify from your own life experiences, from the past life experiences, how I was resilient to the negative experiences, whatever has happened in the previous, how I was able to cope with that kind of experiences. And these are some of the self-compassion exercises, positive self-talk, encouraging and supportive. I will sitting somewhere, making myself conscious on the situation, being at present. I will be considering the environment, and I will be giving some positive self-talk. And mindfulness, which is already discussed in this particular module and also in this particular subject. We have seen how you need to do mindfulness in a proper way, present moment awareness, And also journaling, explore feelings and thoughts. I am trying to understand, or I am trying to track my negativity, my coping skills, and the emotional distress which I was experiencing. While doing these kind of self-compassion exercises, you will be trying to improve or trying to live in more emotional resilience skills. And finally, the positivity, accepting optimism. As we know that the people with the pessimistic attitude will be sidebarred, or they will be eliminated from the community. If you are always giving negative criticism, you will be giving negative thought processes, people won't be trying to incorporate you with all the activities which they are planning to do. So try to have a optimism, hope, focus on possibilities. We all are daily living a life which is fully inconsistent. Sometimes you feel that there are situations in which you are not able to properly expect, or you are not able to predict the outcome, but still you have that focus. A person, one who started driving to somewhere, he has that hope that I can complete, I will be able to reach that goal, whatever the struggles are there. A student joining in a particular course must have, or he hold that kind of hope that I can complete this course in a better possible way. So this is very important. Keep that hope always in your mind. And lower stress. When you are having accepting optimism, you will be able to reduce anxiety and worry. Finally, problem solving. Effective coping strategies occurs when you are having an optimistic approach towards any situations, any environment, or any kind of incidents in your life. So plan accordingly or believe accordingly. Make a positivity like a hopeful, lower stress and problem solving skill to build emotional resilience. And another very important thing to grow in emotional resilience is power of gratitude. One of the best thing which we need to keep in our mind is building a culture of gratitude. That is very important. In every religious perspective, when you are thinking about a prayer, consider any of the prayers, even in the religious literature or in any kind of a liturgical celebrations, you will be able to identify. Prayer is, suppose if you are having a 1 hour prayer time in a systematic, in a cultured, in a cultic way, in that prayer itself there are like many of these mantras or this liturgical praying mode will be concentrating on the gratitude, whatever God has given to me. I am giving thanks to Him and I am appreciating Him. I am giving a kind of thanksgiving to Him. So try to have this power of gratitude in your day-to-day life. Shift focus. Gratitude strengthens relationship and emotional resilience. And this is very important. When you are having this gratitude, you will be focusing, you are always concentrating on the your gift, whatever you received from others, or whatever you received from the nature, whatever you received from your company, received from your institute, and it will give you kind of emotional resilience and relationships. It shifts the focus from problems to blessings, fostering a positive outlook on life. That is very necessary to build a proper affection towards your life and also towards others. And there are some kind of exercises which you can consider to improve your gratitude or improve your resilience. These gratitude exercises are very important to have a self-awareness about yourself, what are the benefits which I received from others, and at the same time, it will give you some kind of strength, some kind of resilience throughout your life. One thing can be journaling. Record things you are thankful for. Maybe from your, suppose if I am doing a thankful gratitude journaling in evening, today I will consider what are the benefits which I received from this particular institute, this particular job environment. How many friends helped me? How many mentors were trying to give me some kind of informations? And who are the people who are part of my life? And how I was experiencing, I was taking their help. So this is very important, gratitude journaling. Second thing can be express appreciation. Tell someone you appreciate them. Suppose a mentor is giving you a lot of support and you will be able to complete the project in an appropriate time. You are trying to communicate him gratitude, accepting him as a mentor and also trying to him a positive feedback. That itself is a kind of a expression of appreciation. Some of your friends might be helping you to come with you for a shopping, or they may be helping you to assist doing some particular project work. Appreciating them verbally. Sometimes you need to be with them and telling that it was so helpful for me. I am grateful to you. And these are the ways in which you are trying to improve your skills of resilience. And gratitude meditations. Any day you can sit somewhere in a peaceful situations, concentrating your own body, and you will be reflecting on blessings. What are the blessings today I have received from morning to evening? This can be done every day. Maybe from the very beginning of the day or before going to the bed, you can have an examination of consciousness. You will be thinking about yourself and you will be considering what are the ways in which I have received the gift or the blessings from others. So these are the ways in which you will be doing gratitude exercises for resilience, for emotional resilience. Now we were discussing about what are the barriers of building resilience. There are certain pitfalls which makes you hinder to do this resilience. One thing can be negative self-talk, undermines motivation and self-beliefs. People used to tell that I am overthinking. Then you are saying that I am overthinking. These overthinking thoughts are, most of the thoughts are negativity. When this kind of negative thought, I will not be able to get a good grade, I will not be able to complete my project, I will not get a degree, I will not be able to pass this exam. So this kind of negativity, negative self-talk undermines motivation. And it's a kind of a self-hypnosis. When these thoughts comes from outside and these thoughts are repeatedly moving on your brain, it will be having a kind of a self-hypnosis. You won't be able to overcome this. So try to understand this is a barrier for building resilience. Then isolation, lack of supportive connections weakens coping capacity. Whether I am having a proper connections. Seeking help is also very important. Like you are helping others. You know that if someone is asking you help and if you have a time for time and energy, you need to help others. This is a value which we learn from our childhood. The same way, whenever you need some support, you should have that capacity to ask, capacity to seek help. That will give you some kind of supportive connections. And it will definitely support your coping capacity, coping skill. Sometimes the third thing can be like a kind of hindrance for your resilience can be unrealistic expectations. And when you are having unrealistic expectations leads to burnout and frustration. Suppose I got a 5 CPI in a semester. On second semester, I am thinking that I need to reach out to 9. We know that it is a kind of unmet expectation. I can have a proper realistic. In second semester, I will try to improve my CPI into 7, 7.5, maybe 8. Maybe in second year or third year, I can reach up to a CPI of 8.5. So like that, we need to have a proper small goal-oriented expectations. Then the fourth and final thing which can hinder that, which can have a barrier to building resilience is avoidance. Suppressing emotions or problem delays healing. As we know that there are two ways in which you can cope with the reality. One is to fight. Sometimes you need to fly. So people who are having a low resilience, they always prefer for a flight response. I don't want to this particular stress. I'm not able to manage. I am not able to hold this stress. So I will be trying to avoid. It's a kind of flight response. Always it is not good. But in some situations, according to the situations, according to the environment, according to the incidents, you can opt for avoidance, but it is always not necessary. You need to avoid difficult situations. So try to understand that these barriers needs to be separated from our day-to-day life. So this can, if you are able to avoid, if you are able to remove this kind of barriers from your self, from your thought process, you will be able to get into grow daily in emotional resilience. So how to build emotional resilience? Adaptive coping mechanism is necessary. Healthy stress management. Each person is having different varieties of, according to his personality, according to his traits, he may develop from the very beginning of the childhood or from the family background. He learned some kind of stress management. So manage stress and adversity. That is very important. Healthy stress management. And there are, I think, in this particular mental health and well-being subject, we have properly or dealt with in different module how to manage stress in a proper way. And emotional regulation. In this particular module itself, we have seen previous lectures, emotional regulations, how we can regulate your emotions. And finally, mental health, maintain a mental health. That is very important for building emotional resilience. Building an maintain mental health in the sense, like the physical health, you are responsible for your mental health. Mental health includes three things, as we said, as a triangle: thought, emotion, and behavior. You are responsible for these three things. When you are able to manage, you are able to control, you are able to stop your thought process. Whenever you are able to manage, regulate your emotions, whenever you are trying to behave appropriately, adapting to the situations, then you are having a proper mental health. So try to understand you are responsible for your mental health, and it can increase definitely your coping mechanisms. So these are the adaptive coping strategies: problem focused, emotion focused, and meaning focused. Problem focused, as we know that there are what is the problem, then trying to define that problem, and you will be trying to articulate what are the possible solutions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you find it out of these 5 solutions, this one is more appropriate. So I will take this particular, for example, I have 5 solutions, alternative solution. I am considering at this point of time, the second one is more effective. So I am going with that second problem solving skill. So after action, I will take a feedback, whether after 2 weeks or 2 months, this particular solution is giving me any kind of positivity, any kind of result which I was expecting. If it is not, I will be trying to remove that second one, and I will sort it out from the rest of the 4. I will consider next time this one will be, or maybe the third one, I will be considering this as the best solution for this problem. So I will practice. So act accordingly. Then I will take a feedback and I will check whether this is contributing to a supportive environment, whether this is making me feel better. According to my expectations, the outcome is okay. So I will go with that particular problem solving skill. That is why problem focused adaptive coping strategies. And emotion focused, especially we know that mindfulness, relaxation, or a kind of grounding techniques which will give you emotion focused coping or a kind of resilience. And meaning focus, find purpose in challenges. I consider being a social activist is more good in my life. So I will be engaged in some of the activities. Maybe in my institute there are social work environment or a kind of supportive systems. So peer support, I join in a peer supportive group. I will join in some of the clubs which will give me some kind of meaning focused, value focused coping strategies in my life. So accordingly, we build adaptive coping strategies to grow in emotional resilience. It's a kind of, again, skill which we need to develop through practice, through engage into activities, social situations. You will be developing these skills. Now we are trying to understand what is emotional agility. In emotional agility means the ability to adapt our thoughts and perspectives in response to changing circumstances. We should have that ability. There are situations are out of our control. It is always changing, and the perspectives which we are expecting is not the same. So according to the changing circumstances, I may have that ability to adapt to that situation, adapt to our thoughts. So it means avoiding rigid and black and white thinking instead of embracing nuance and complexity. Sometimes if I am holding a rigid feedback or a black and white thinking, it will be having a negative impact. I will not be able to cope with that situations. So emotional agility is very important, which needs to be developed in our life. It will be basically considering two things. One is managing your emotions effectively. That is very important, not suppression. Flexible thinking, responding to challenges. Whenever there is a challenge which is beyond our control, I should have that flexibility. Psychological flexibility is very important in our day-to-day life, which will give you a cooler ambience, a cooler atmosphere, and it will strengthen your mental well-being. So try to have that kind of understanding whenever you are having an emotional difficulty. One thing is to acknowledge the emotions, name them. I am getting frustration, I am getting anxiety, I am feeling fearful, I feel alienated, I am feeling loneliness. So name that, acknowledge that emotion is very important to understand that flexibility. Second thing is accept discomfort without judgment. According to my ability, I am not able to adjust with these particular situations. According to my personality, my traits, my behavioral patterns, I feel discomfort, I feel difficulty in managing these situations. So accept discomfort without any judgment. That is also very important. Sometimes when you are having that judgment, you are personalizing yourself. I am not able to do this because I am so and so. So it's a kind of a negative judgment which will give you, push you down. So don't want such kind of judgment when you are having a discomfort. Then third one is reframe challenges as a growth. A person who fails an exam, he may consider this as a learning, and I will seek support from my peer groups, and I will consider this as a way in which I will get a more consistency, I will get a more value oriented, I will try my best to perform well based on the hard work which I can have. So that kind of approach will give me a kind of a growth in my life, and it will give an emotional flexibility in my life. And another thing is the role of boundaries in resilience. That is very important. Whenever you are having a personal boundaries, and these personal boundaries, if you are able to maintain properly, it can protect emotional energy and reduce overwhelm. And saying no is essential and for self-care and mental well-being. Because I am not explaining more in a detail, because this thing we have experienced, we have learned in the previous lectures. So healthy detachment allows you to be supportive without absorbing others' distress. Boundaries support emotional sustainability and self-respect. So you need boundaries for emotional sustainability and self-respect. Sometimes over-involvement in others' life. Same way, if someone is crossing your personal boundary, this can reduce the emotional sustainability, and it will make you feel lack of self-respect. So try to understand that boundaries are very important in emotional resilience. Social connections and resilience are connected. Social connections in the sense, whenever you are having supportive relationships, it will give you some kind of stress reduction, and it also will give you emotional strength, gain perspectives. Whenever you are having a supportive group, they will give you a different approach towards a particular problem. You may be feeling that it is an end of the day, or it is an end of the particular course or particular goal. So when you are having a supportive group, they will reflect upon it, and they will give you an emotional strength where you will get a different approach towards this particular problem, this particular incident, this particular negativity. Third thing, strong supportive system. It will give you support at the same time, which will enable you to seek help. So try to have an understanding about resilience needs proper social connections. A person, we have seen many of the examples during the crisis interventions, especially some kind of trauma experiences. People used to have different natural calamities, or through flooding, or with any other tsunami. During this kind of emergencies, people used to have a social connectedness. People who live in camps, those who are rescued from the trauma situations, and they may be keeping in some kind of camp. And when they are living in that particular camp, they get a lot of social support, social connectedness, and they engage in common activities. Through those activities, they are getting social connectedness. With that, they will be seeking help and also give support to each other. So this is very relevant in your social connections and also to be in a emotionally resilient. And finally, we are trying to tell what we try to explore in this particular lecture is key elements of resilience. Three things, as I said: optimism, gratitude, and self-compassion. We have seen what is optimism, we have seen what is gratitude, and this is a kind of a cyclical thing. We always live with these three things: hope, positivity, that is optimism; gratitude, that is another one which you need to have as a value throughout your life; and self-compassion. Without judgment, you are accepting, you are acknowledging whatever you are as it is in a particular situation. So how we will be able to understand emotional resilience in a student life? For example, activity scheduling, time management to prevent academic burnout. I am not getting proper time. My lab is not functioning properly, or my colleagues are not supportive. So do I have a proper activity scheduling to deal with this kind of negativity? Seeking help from counselors or faculty or peer mentors, that is also in the context of a student life, it is very important to build in resilience. And third one can be maintaining a balance, proper recreation, sleep, and social connection as a protective factors. These things needs to be remembered. How I can create recreation. Some people will not be having any kind of recreation. Their recreation is only to scroll down the social media and see what others are doing. And that itself will have a negative impact on us. So try to have a properly, whether I am having a proper time for a recreation. Physical exercise. Do I have a proper time for engaging into activities which is making me feel happy? So try to have that kind of understanding about a balance, about sleep, social connections, maintaining healthy sleep hygiene. That is also very relevant and important. Try to maintain 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That is very important in a student life. Many people consider and they tolerate the sleeping time. They are thinking that if I am not sleeping, I can be more productive, I can do this, do that. But absolutely, when you are coming into a realistic life situations, we are 100% sure that a person, one who is having disturbances or inconsistencies or disrupted sleep, will have a negative impact in his resilience skill as well as in his mental health. So try to maintain this kind of things. Recreation is important, sleep is important, social connections, and these are the protective factors which will give you proper resilience skills. And finally, learning from the setbacks. Reframing failures as a feedback. Instead of thinking that it is a failure, it is an end of life. Consider it as a feedback and try to build that skill to go in emotional resilience. And these are some of the daily habits that foster resilience. Sleep, nutrition, daily reflections, mindful check-in with your emotions, and also physical activity, act of kindness, build empathy and emotional strength. Just towards yourself and towards others, act of kindness. If I am not able to complete a task according to my expected time, I need to be kind towards myself. If someone is not responding to me as I am expecting, so I need to be kind to that situation, kind to that person, so that I will get a kind of a resilience skill. I am getting some kind of a skill towards self-acknowledgement or skill towards my own self-enhancement. And finally, the last slide which we will try to wrap up is resilience is a skill which can be developed. Every skill is to be developed. Second thing is optimism, gratitude and self-compassion. These are the things which enhances our resilience skill. Finally, coping and support is very relevant to essential for overcoming our setbacks. Finally, challenge, strengthen your resilience. Try to find out the ways in which how I can strengthen my resilience skill. These are the very important references, basically 3 references which I have given, and most of the content which we discussed, you will get a crystal clarity while you are able to go about the Skinner, Carver and David's books, articles. You will get a clear idea about how you can be emotionally resilient. And thanks for listening this particular lecture. Thank you.